What is up, RotoGrinders? It's a weird time to be on, is it not? Yeah, it's hump day, Wednesday, goofy baseball schedule. It's how it goes down all the time. There's a bunch of afternoon games. There's a lock time on DK right now at 2:10. So emergency podcast, talking to Mlb Dfs, letting the people know, this is why you turn the alerts on. Turn those alerts. Subscribe, like, hit that alert button. I'm doing your job, TJ. Myself and TJ, we're going to be talking afternoon baseball. Mostly we're going to focus on, as far as the biggest prize pool is right now, it's going down, is the 7-game Draftkings pool. Of course, we're going to be back on later, normal time, talking the main slate, which is only a 5-gamer, Fanduel and DK. But, hey, man, this is TJ. Welcome. Glad to have you. And this is just how it goes down as far as, there's already some baseball games that have started. I believe, you were saying you're well ahead. I don't know if you're ready to screenshot just yet, but I think you had 9 points in the early
yeah.
States. Is it ready to claim victory, or how you feel about that?
Feeling pretty close. We were at the min cash line with our 9 points, and I'm looking at it now. It looks like my guy Eddie Rosario just got another hit. So feeling pretty good. Yu Darvish has an out.
Oh,
come on. It's over. It's over.
Get the screenshot ready, man. And take that Twitter victory lap. We want to make this as interactive as possible. By the way, what up, chat? For those of y'all that have the alerts on, now you know that we're doing a show. Feel free to interact with us, ask any questions throughout. Going to be talking, again, focusing mostly on the 7-game DK slate that starts about 30 minutes or so. Condensed show. I feel like we can make it happen. I'm typically used to doing an hour-and-a-half show and just being relaxed and pacing, but I guess we got to pick up the pace to some degree. We'll see how it goes. But your thoughts, screenshot, we're kind of talking about a pre-show, and I mentioned to you, and I'm full disclosure, transparency. I've been focusing on the main slate all day. So I just learned about this slate not too long ago. And so I'm going to be leaning on you, TJ. I'm asking a lot of questions. We'll be figuring out as we go along. But you were saying this slate is pretty straightforward. Give me the screenshot. Well, what is your thoughts as far as this 7-game, or what are you seeing?
We got a clear SP1 in Corbin Burns. We got a clear SP2 in Christian Javier. We got Coors on the slate, and the Dodgers are in a phenomenal spot. So I do think there are some ways you can maybe get a little different with it. Maybe you go Javier as your SP1, Zach Gallen is your SP2. Maybe you go all the way down to Brad Keller. But I think we can keep a very tight pitching pool today. And if we're playing the chalky pitchers, we can differentiate with our bats. And if we are simply not playing Corbin Burns, then I don't think we have to worry about the chalkiness of our bats.
Yeah, I mean, DK got a roster too. I'm looking at the ownership stuff, and we're basically looking at close to 100% collectively with Javier and Burns, and the rest of the 100% is just kind of the nonsense you kind of referenced. Christian Javier at 48% we're looking at as far as ownership right now. I do have so I'm not sure. What are you showing on the screen? Because I'm showing off. I'm looking at the bat projected ownership. I can check our MLB stuff as well, the Plate IQ, and
I got the Plate IQ stuff up right now. So we got Javier 52% and Burns at 50%. The next highest guys are Zach Gallen and John Gray at 20%. Then Brad Keller at 13%, Logan Webb at 11%. To be perfectly honest with you, I would cut at these top 5 guys. I would play Javier, Burns, Gallen, Gray, Keller, and I wouldn't be messing around with anybody else. I understand maybe going Logan Webb, but Arizona's been hitting the ball really well lately, and I just don't really feel like targeting them when we have so many other good options here. So if I'm fading one of Corbin Burns and Christian Javier, personally, I feel more comfortable fading Corbin Burns. I like going to the likes of Zach Gallen, John Gray, or even paying all the way down to Keller. So Burns would be the one I'd be most likely to fade. But if you're playing cash games, you're playing single entry, and you're differentiating at all with your bats, there's no reason at all not to just play these 2 top guys.
So, Javier and Burns projected basically for the same 52% for Javier. 50% for Burns. Obviously, there's a price distinction as well. Javier is just 8.7 on DK, 10.1 on Burns. And again, you're right. If you're playing cash games, you just clearly put those 2 players in. If you guys are playing head-to-heads, 50-50s, things like that. Why is Burns the one you're cutting before Javier? It's not an ownership thing. You just think that raw points wise, well, he's facing the vaunted Oakland A's. I assume that's what's changing things for you.
That's it. I think there's a bit more danger in the Minnesota lineup, and even though there's some strikeouts in there, Burns' raw points may do a little bit better, but like we got him projected in the bat right now for a 0.28 difference. So I'd rather take that 1,400 salary saving option because there are bats we want to spend up for on this slate.
You know, Javier's got a bigger K percentage this season than Burns. They're both obviously elite, but Javier at 33.9% this year, facing the terrible Oakland lineup, a positive ballpark as well. Yeah, the foul territory is kind of a give and take. You might get an out or two in foul territory, but you lose a strikeout. Burns at 32.1%. They're both elite. And again, those are the clear top two pitchers. Who is your favorite pivot? I might have missed it. As far as if you're not going to play Burns, who's the next guy you're leaning on? Is it Zach Gallen versus San Francisco? Is it John Gray versus Seattle? And then Brad Keller's not great, but he's facing the Angels. So, like, theoretically, there's some upside there because they are putrid. Amongst those three, is it Gallen, Gray, or Keller? Who's your next favorite?
Probably Keller, as gross as it feels, just because it's not like Gallen and Gray are without danger. San Francisco's a solid lineup. That Seattle's a solid lineup. So I'm good with either of those pivots, but I think Keller would be my favorite just because I'd want to, if I'm playing cash, it's definitely Javier Burns. But in tournaments, I think I'd want to go Javier Keller and spend up on some bats. And if I was running 150 on DraftKings today, I honestly think I'd have Javier in all 150 of them.
Wow. That's that's a bold proclamation. That's a big stand. And that's how you get over the field on a 50% guy. You just hit that lock button. Do you not like Jansen Junk? We talked about him pre-show. Is that somebody that I just wanted to get it out there? We got to say the name. You have to say the name at least. Acknowledge its existence.
Yeah, that'd be a trash play today.
Nicely done. By the way, just a heads up, you guys are watching us right now. If you want some Fanduel stuff, I don't know if there's any. There is some. Fanduel kind of chopped their slates up in 3 different pieces or whatever it was. But Kevin Roth and Dave Potts, Jesus good. They also talked to Slate, and I believe they talked to DK specific Slate about 4.5 minutes into their video. Maybe we can go ahead and drop that in chat, and our producer Devin is lurking. You can't watch them both at the same time. That would be kind of weird. I suppose you could, but you probably wouldn't get much out of it. But that video is also out there in existence. That was recorded earlier today. If you want to hear Dave's thoughts on this DK slate as we kind of power through. And again, we got 25 minutes until the slate locks. Do you want to say what's up to the chat? TJ, you want to give your pitch? Is Spider-Man available for the emergency shows? I don't know if he's napping, if he's fighting crime at this point. Is he even on call? Where is he at? Is he lurking?
He's lurking. He's always lurking. Crime never sleeps. But I don't know if everybody. It's a weird show. We don't got too many people watching. Just hit the like button if you're here. We trust you to do it. We popped on here last minute without knowing, so I think we deserve a nice little like today. Hit that like button, and when we after we go through all the plays at each position, we'll make sure to give out some home run plays just out of the goodness of our hearts.
If we are not differentiating ourselves too much as far as pitchers, again, like Javier and Burns is like the nuts. Just playing one of them is being different, like you said. How are we going to be different as far as our lineups? I assume hitters, I assume stacks. Well, what's your approach as far as hitting today?
So as I'm planning on in tournaments not playing Corbin Burns in a main lineup, if I were to be running one, I don't think I'm going to be worrying too much about the ownership in my lineups. I view in this slate, we have tier 1, the Chicago White Sox, tier 2, the Colorado Rockies and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then tier 3 is a huge mix. If you play anyone other than the Rockies, Dodgers, and the White Sox, you're going to be totally off the board today. And so because of that, if you want to run the Burns Javier team, go for it. Just play one of these other stacks as well. The stacks I'm looking at would be Milwaukee, Texas, heck, maybe even I wouldn't want a full stack, but Shohei Ohtani is one of the better plays on the slate. You do a little mini stack of him, Jared Walsh, and Taylor Ward. There's nothing wrong with that. And then the other team I'm interested in for tournaments is Kansas City as well.
Yeah, I don't know how you stack the Angels these days. They're just absolutely horrendous.
And even Houston. Actually, throw Houston in there too. I forgot to say them.
Yeah, Houston they've just been resting multiple players on multiple days. Today there's no Pena and there's no Bregman. So, you're getting a different mix of Astros on particular days. Yesterday, they know they rested Altuve. A couple days ago, they rested Tucker. I don't know if they're taking it easy on Oakland, long season, that kind of thing, I suppose. But, yeah, not the best Houston lineup, obviously. But Gurriel batting second, which is interesting. Altuve, Gurriel, Alvarez, Mlb Dfs. Why is Mlb Dfs? You have to split up the left right that much that Diaz hits in front of Tucker. It's getting out of hand, TJ. I'm sorry. I'm going to call Dusty Baker. I'm not happy with this.
Mlb Dfs is one of the top utility players in all of baseball, man. Come on.
That's a backhanded compliment. Utility player. That's like calling somebody a professional hitter. This guy is a professional hitter. That's like a nice announcer way of saying this guy's not great, but somehow he stuck around the league for 9 years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have no notes, no arguments there.
But I guess you got to split up the lefties and the righties, and that's an old school manager thing. You mentioned the Dodgers. We talked about this the last couple of days. Washington has no lefties in their bullpen. I presume, I haven't looked, but I presume they haven't called it. They have no interest in winning ball games. If you took baseball seriously as a GM, you'd probably have a lefty in your bullpen. I'm guessing one is hurt. I don't know. But yeah, Corbin, the lefty's going to start. So they're probably going to switch a couple of guys later on in the game. Maybe we see Alberto come out for like a Lamb, just kind of heads up on that, I suppose. But, picking on Patrick Corbin, like you said, the Dodgers, one of the elite offenses. Corbin, how much power he yields, especially to righties. And you have, Betts right up the top. Looks like an awesome play. And then there's Coors Field, which kind of disappointed yesterday. Giolito, pretty solid arm. Senzatella, not so much. That's why we're seeing the White Sox, locked in for 9 innings at Coors, getting a 6 total, the biggest on the board. But when have the White Sox failed us this season? Oh, wait, every single game. I think every game. I'm pretty sure. Where is your preference as far as, the big boy stacks? Where do you think you're going to lean as far as your main lineup? Is it going to be a Coors stack? Is it the Dodgers or, some sort of combination of those two? And maybe you're running a kind of an off the board mini stack as your the 3-man or something like that. What's the strategy here?
I honestly just like going Chicago White Sox #1 here and the Dodgers #2. I'm just peeking into my main lineup here and just on FanDuel, seeing if there's something I want to switch up, just because Garrett Hampson batting second for the Rockies is kind of tempting. But I view it the Dodgers 2 with Colorado right behind them at 3 and then the White Sox at 1. I think we should rip through position by position here because we got locks in 20 minutes, and then we can kind of talk home runs and other strategy after the fact. But the one thing I want to touch on before we do that is this Dodgers lineup. I think the most likely players you're looking to see get pinch hit for today are Austin Barnes and Hanser Alberto. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, there are no lefties in that bullpen, so we're probably going to be seeing only righties after the starting pitcher here. So if Corbin gets knocked out early, which if we're playing the Dodgers, that's obviously something we're kind of hoping for. Barnes and Alberto would be the first 2 I would leave out of my stacks. And if I'm picking one of them to be in my stack, it would be Austin Barnes, because I can play him at catcher at 2,700. And that's a good segue to go right into the catcher position. I think you're playing Will Smith up top. That is by far the top player on the slate. Somebody like MJ Melendez, I would like a lot more as a tournament pivot if he wasn't picking up close to the same ownership as Will Smith. But because he is, I just like Smith straight up overall. You can save $800 going to Yasmani Grandal, but that's not that big of a salary saving difference. So I just realized I'm looking at the positions on my laptop here as opposed to the screen share. So let's pull up the screen share. Now we got it.
But Grandal's power is just like non-existent. It's gone. Do you know what it is?
It
you
is.
Know what his ISO is this year? It's horrendous. I know it's small samples and stuff like that, but his ISO is 46.
Yeah, not that tempting whatsoever. So I would much rather go to Will Smith as opposed to Yasmani Grandal. MJ Melendez as a tournament pivot, I don't mind. But if you're not playing one of those guys up top, to me, the only other ones I really have interest in would be Elias Diaz, Jonah Heim, or you go all the way down to Austin Barnes. But I would only do that in a stack. Taking it over to the first base position, my favorite option here for tournaments is going to be Shohei Ohtani. For cash games, I definitely understand the Jose Abreu or CJ Cron. I would pick Abreu over if I'm choosing one of the two of them. But they're both great plays. I like Shohei Ohtani just as much as those guys in Coors today. However, if I'm playing a Keller lineup, I'm probably going to go with one of those Coors guys. You can save money for Rowdy Tellez, but it's not that big of a salary saving. So if you can pay up, I would rather just get up to Jose Abreu today. And if you do want to save, going all the way down to Jared Walsh, I think is reasonable, or all the way down to Ryan O'Hearn as well. Yuli Gurriel or Carlos Santana would be the only other guys I'd be looking at there if I'm stacking, but I'd only want to play them in a stack. Do you have any catcher or first base thoughts before I run a second?
Well, I was just going to say, like, that yesterday in chat, I remember I just got a call back that you corrected me. For some reason, I want to call him Tellez. I don't know why. It's Rowdy Tellez. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But yeah, I just think I saw somebody else, Gator Nation in chat, was talking about the Brewers in general, and you talked about Rowdy Tellez. Archer is rough, man. This guy used to be a lot of fun when he was on the Rays like 6, 7, 8 years ago, but that's a long time ago. And he's also been super lucky if you like dig in under the roof, that kind of thing. The Ks have been non-existent this season, 18.4%. He walks too many guys, 11% as well. I was just looking at, I think he's got one of the biggest SIERAs yet, 4.92 SIERA, but his ERA is 3.41. Crazy lucky. His BABIP, right? Batting average on balls in play, 234. Regression monster is coming for Chris Archer. Even, kind of lucky with homer to fly ball at 10.3% also. It's really hard to survive with an 11% walk rate and an 18.4% K rate, and that's why the SIERA is almost like a 1.5 higher as far as the ERA. So if you're looking for a pivot team, I feel like Milwaukee's kind of interesting. I don't know how heavily owned they're going to be, right? Maybe Rowdy's going to grab some ownership, but otherwise, let's see. What is now I'm just curious.
We see Rowdy and we see Yelich always pick up some ownership, and Milwaukee today is my favorite team of those tier 3 stacks that I mentioned. I don't like them as much as Coors. I don't like them as much as the Dodgers game, but they would be my next favorite. They'd be my 4th favorite stack, followed by Kansas City as my 5th favorite stack. And the thing I like about playing Milwaukee is outside of Tellez and Yelich, you aren't seeing a lot of ownership. And you got a guy like Tyrone Taylor batting 9th who's got a lot of power, and it's a righty, so you're not going to be worried about the pinch hit. Victor Caratini has a little power at the catcher position. Urias has been hitting the ball better lately. Hunter Renfro is one of my favorite tournament plays.
He keeps homering like every single day. Renfro is smashing one out.
He's one of those guys that when he's hot, he is hot, and that's right now. And he's a fly ball hitter, which I always like targeting, even as a one-off. And Willy Adames is another great play as a one-off or part of a stack that you can get to at very low ownership as well. So I like the Brewers call. Tellez and Yelich are going to see some ownership, but not a concerning amount by any means. So if you're playing stacks, you can run them for sure. But McCutchen, Renfro, Adames just scream phenomenal plays today.
Didn't mean to derail the show, but I saw Milwaukee and I was kind of digging into it as far as Archer. And I'm like, if they're going to be somewhat ignored, and I understand why, because of course, and because of the Dodgers, but they should be the next tier team stepping up. About 13 minutes until lock. We're going to continue going around the horn. If you guys have anything pertaining to the conversation or just shorter questions in the old YouTube chat, I got my eye on it. Do hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications. Also understand we're going to be on later, 5:00 Eastern for the main slate as well. Jump to the Keystone position, second base. What do you got for me?
Let's do it, and let's do a Spidey bomb at 25 likes. We got 15. We got like 50 people watching. Let's do a Spidey bomb at 25 likes. So at the second base position, it's one of the weaker positions we have on the slate. So top overall for projections in the bat, we have Marcus Semien. I think he's a very strong play. Texas is another tier 3 stack I'm somewhat interested in. I think he's all good there if you want to stack or play him as a one-off. But it also feels like a good position that you can just punt totally if you want to. And my favorite punt option is going to be Lurie Garcia. He's not very good, but he's $2,500 in Coors. It is what it is. If you want to include Luis Rengifo in a cheap stack, go for it. I personally don't like Hanser Alberto just because, yes, he could do fine, but he's probably going to be the very first player to get pinch hit for, whether it's Max Muncy or Cody Bellinger. Yeah, they got enough guys that can swap around the positions that he's probably going to be the very first guy pinch hit for. So he'd be one I'd want to get away from, but I think you have you're either going up top with somebody like Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, Whit Merrifield, I even think is fine. Or I think you're just punting completely with somebody like a Lurie Garcia.
It's a very real scenario that Alberto just hits 2 times today. Like that's certainly possible. And he's not even great. He is cheap, obviously. And I like the call for Altuve because it looks like what I'm saying as far as ownership, he's going to be 6, 7, 8%, give or take. One, leadoff hitter on the road in the ballpark stinks, but the dominion of Altuve historically has absolutely smashed the Southpaws. Good shot those 5 ABs as well. So, if you're playing some Houston, I don't mind. Obviously, if you're playing Houston, Altuve probably one of the first guys who are throwing in that stack. Jump to third base. What do you have as far as the hot corner?
So Garrett Hampson is the top play on the slate. He's $2,400 in Coors batting second. He's going to see a lot of ownership, as will Yoan Moncada, also in Coors, very affordable. You want to play anybody else, you're getting off the board. Justin Turner is a great option. Ryan McMahon is a great option. Emmanuel Rivera interests me a lot in tournaments. He's 2K. He's batting cleanup for KC against junk. So if you want to get a low owned punt that is not Garrett Hampson, Emmanuel Rivera would be my favorite option there. But I think this is a phenomenal spot to go cheap. And if you're not doing that, you're going Yoan Moncada.
All right. Shortstop. What do you have for me?
So shortstop, we have a very, very strong position today. We had already talked about Willy Adames, who makes a great tournament play. The reason he's such a great tournament play is because everybody's playing Trey Turner or Tim Anderson. Out of the two, I like Trey Turner a little bit better, but if you can't afford him, Anderson is a great play as well. But your two best tournament options outside of that are Corey Seager and Willy Adames. I don't want to play Marcus Semien here because this is a much better position than second base. So if you want to play him, just play him at second base. But this is a pay up spot. This isn't one we're looking to punt with somebody like Elvis Andrus or Dubon today. Nothing like that. We are paying up for Trey Turner, Tim Anderson, Corey Seager, or Willy Adames. That's it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It feels like up the middle. It feels like a bigger opportunity cost, certainly at shortstop as there is at second base. You talk about second base, the popular options being, like if people are going to punt with Alberto, Josh Harrison's not somebody you're necessarily afraid of not having, Larry Garcia as well. Yeah, the opportunity cost is much greater at shortstop than it is at second base. All right, let's talk about the outfield again. Chat, fire away some questions in there. Taking a peek. There is one lurking. Ryan wants to know, DK, this is for tournaments, DraftKings tournaments. Now, just for more information the better. That's helpful. He's running 4 Kansas City and 3 LA. So wait, I assume that's LA. It's got to be LA Dodgers and not Angels.
Yeah, for me that's Burns and O'Hearn by a lot. You just take those points with Burns, and O'Hearn is a guy who could hit a homer, and you're completing your KC stack. So for me, it's that one by quite a bit.
O'Hearn's another guy, by the way, that can get the hook. I'm check out their lineup, but he gets pinch hit for a ton. Whenever a lefty comes in, he basically gets the hook. Let's see who else is. If a lefty comes in, well, Pasquantino is not starting, but he's also a lefty. I'm just trying to think. There's probably somebody there lurking that I'm not thinking about. But if a lefty comes in, he generally comes out. All right, jump to the outfield.
Yeah, so before we head to the outfield, we have somebody asking in the YouTube chat as well if we're going to talk to Fanduel Slate. If you and Devin are free, I think we could cover the Fanduel Slate after DraftKings lock, since it doesn't lock for another hour after that. So we could just do like a brief overview if you got time for that. I don't know, but if not, we can just cool. If not, we'll just take some questions, but we'll go over that one quickly. Hit the like button as soon as we get to 25. We got some Spidey bombs. Let's talk outfield. Chris Bryant is who we got the bat projecting as the top option today, and I don't mind that, but personally, I like Betts and Ohtani a little bit better as pay-up options. I'd rather try and find the salary to get Betts and Ohtani over Chris Bryant, over who else is up there? Christian Yelich, Byron Buxton, Juan Soto. Those are all fine tournament plays because they're going to be fairly unowned, guys like Soto and Buxton, but there are just so many strong plays that I find myself going elsewhere today. Charlie Blackmon, I think, is a great option there as well. I like him over Chris Bryant personally. And then if you got to go cheap, there are tons of great options. If you played Yoan Moncada at third, you can play Garrett Hampson here in the outfield. Hunter Renfro, phenomenal tournament option today. I like him better than Yelich straight up. And then you got Michael Taylor is a min-price punt I'm good with. Victor Robles is a min-price punt I'm good with. Kyle Isbell is a min-price punt I'm good with. Same with O'Hearn. The two top cheap options on the slate are going to be AJ Pollock as well as Trace Thompson. My favorite of the entire bunch is Trace Thompson. This is a guy who's been starting against righties lately, so I don't think we have to worry about pinch hit risk. And he's been hitting the ball really well against lefties, and he's been hitting the ball really well against righties. So 2,300, he's finally in a good lineup spot. He's my favorite salary-saving outfield option. He's probably my favorite salary-saving option on the slate. It's close with Garrett Hampson. It's Hampson for cash, but it's Trace Thompson for tournament. So that's where I'm looking to go cheap. This top option we have projected in the bat here: Hampson, Taylor, Robles, Pollock, Isbell, O'Hearn, Trace Thompson. That's basically where I'm looking. And then for tournaments, I would rather go to the likes of Yordan Alvarez and Charlie Blackmon as opposed to the Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto's up top, but my favorite options are Ohtani, Betts, Blackmon.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Thompson, like you said, getting a good lineup spot 6. What? Well, he usually bets like 8th or 9th. Same thing with Michael Taylor. Both those guys jumped up today. Taylor batting in the 6th spot versus Junk, and Thompson versus Corbin. And like again, like the Dodgers have 2 or 3 of their regulars on the bench. Thompson not the most likely to get pinch hit for. We talked about Alberto, probably Barnes be the more likely candidates. Some questions that are popping up in chat here. And again, fire up your questions. 6 minutes until the DK lock. We'll touch on what's going on in FanDuel as well. I think FanDuel has a $20,000 contest. It's about the fill, the squeeze, the $4 squeeze. Is there anything else as far as the 3 o'clock early slate? That's their biggest contest going down, right? Unless I'm missing something.
I'll peek it open right now, and we're 9 likes away from a Spidey bomb, so let's get that in before lock. Come on, people. And yeah, they got that $4 squeeze, and that's about it. They got a couple fun, like $25 winner take calls. If you go to the 3 to 100 player tournaments, there's quite a few of them that are like half full that you can still get in, and I like those formats quite a bit. I always play them, so that's definitely interesting. We got a QQ no Royals love. Would you rather play the Royals or the Angels? I've talked about the Royals quite. I feel like we've talked about the Royals a lot. They got lots of their tier 3 stack for me, my 5th favorite stack. They're great salary saving options at each position. I do like the Royals. I feel like we've talked about them quite a bit.
Cody wants to know, and by the way, I personally would put, I talked about it. As far as the cheapies, Taylor and Thompson, I'd have them both ahead of O'Hearn. I think you said the same thing, right? I believe you did.
Yeah.
Cody wants to know DK single entry. So single entry, we know about the ownership and single entry. It gets condensed. It gets pushed up. The chalk gets chalkier. Is a Texas stack too cute? I mean,
I don't think so.
Nobody else is doing it. It's a separator.
The reason a Texas stack isn't too cute is because, like, even though they don't have a very high total, they're not facing a great pitcher, and they got great hitters on their team like Semien and Seager and Adolis Garcia. You can play a catcher in your stack with Heim. So yeah, I have no problem with the Texas stack at all.
Do you have to go 5 though? Okay, well, what about like a mini stack? Well, why not like 3 or 4?
I like the mini better than the full. 4 would probably be my favorite, just so you can get Heim in there too. But I don't even think it's crazy to mix in somebody like an Ezekiel Duran if you want to save salary as well.
Eric in chat, he's trying to get my goat. He says play the Twins versus Burns. Burns is not overrated. Like what? I mean, it's possible the Twins get the Burns, but TJ Burns is not an overrated pitcher. He's really, really good. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, these things can happen. Like Buxton can get them. Of course, that kind of stuff can go down, and you can point to the scoreboard if it happens. But it's not because Burns is like this overrated pitcher. He is solid, but any given day as far as baseball, that's how it's going down. What's the team? What's the player that like you're most nervous not having?
Probably be the Rockies, just because even though they're my 3rd favorite stack, I just like getting to the Dodgers and the White Sox more. So the Rockies would probably be the one I'd be most afraid of getting underweight on.
Oh man, that's a huge total there in Coors, but I have a hard time trusting that Colorado lineup just as a general. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I thought I was in for a big payday yesterday with my Blue Jays stack, and then the Rockies just didn't come through for me.
Yeah, your Blue Jays got off to a nice start yesterday. I think they sputtered a little bit late, right? It's always sort of a tease. Like then they put like a think they had 3 in the first inning, I want to say.
They put up 10, so like I was very happy with it. I had Vlad, I had Springer, who was yesterday's Spidey bomb. So hit the like button. We're only 4 away. Springer was yesterday's Spidey bomb, and he hit a grand slam. So I had Biggio and Chapman in there. It went well with Mike Clevenger, but yeah, Colorado let me down.
Don Yeezy's talking about Keller and Gallen. They're in the pool, right? You talk about the 5 pitchers. There's some guys that are worth talking about.
Yeah, I definitely like Keller and Gallen in tournaments. I personally would rather have one of those guys as my SP2 with Javier as opposed to playing them together. But those would be among the 5 guys who are in my pitching pool. For those who tuned in late, my pitching pool is Burns, Javier, let's go to it here so I don't screw it up. Gallen, John Gray, as well as Brad Keller. Keller is my favorite SP2 for tournaments. I would be locking in Christian Gray, Christian Javier, no matter how many lineups I was playing. And we've hit 25 likes, so thank you so much for doing that. And the Spidey bomb today is Hunter Renfro.
There it is. Eric is taking a victory lap on the A's yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, they scored 5 runs, 4 of which were on a grand slam from Pinder. So like if you stack the A's, you lost. That's it.
Eric continues to spew nonsense like he always does, but we will allow it because he got a live final seat, so he has earned 3 days of nonsense. This is day 2. He gets one more day of nonsense tomorrow.
You got to see Eric live in person. You're also qualified with the Fanduel Live final in Chicago. He qualified as well a couple of days ago. Congratulations to him. No thanks to Oakland, but he did still get there despite having a couple of A's in his lineup. Are you gonna? I mean, you have to. I need to know what Eric is like in real life. Is he just trolling? Is he just having a good time, or is this legit?
We'll see. I'll report back. I am right here for RotoGrinders or right for agents at fandom.com. We, I like to report. I like to do some reporting, some investigative reporting. I could do a piece.
Eric wants you to bring some poutine. I don't. How fresh does poutine stay? After 5, 6, 7 hours flying, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm in Saskatchewan, so I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily go and pick up some good classic Quebec poutine and bring it all the way to Chicago. We'll see where Fanduel sends me for my layovers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Poutine, I guess, is just the heart of poutine is in Montreal, right? That's where you got to get
anywhere in Quebec.
Okay. We just locked on DK, by the way. If you guys have any post lock questions, feel free to fire away. You said you're going to be Eric's going to buy you a beer. How about there you go? Are you a beer guy?
Not a beer guy.
No Labatt for you.
No. I'll drink mostly and I'll drink a beer, but I'd never get drunk off beer.
Yeah, fair enough. You want to touch on the Fanduel slate? Again, it's not a monster slate going down, but there's a slate at 3:00. There is currently, you got about 700 spots remaining. If you want to jump in that MLB squeeze, $4. Let's see, $20K as far as total prize pool, $4K up top if you bink it. Is there anything worth noting as far as the slate? I guess we're losing 2 games. The 2 games, I guess, that just started right now. Is that the deal?
Yeah, exactly. And so there were good contests earlier if you happen to hop in them this morning. Luckily I had an Agents of Fandom interview this morning with Anjali Bhamani, who voices a bunch of characters in games like Apex Legends and Overwatch, and she's a character in Ms. Marvel that was recently on Disney Plus.
You love that?
I do. It was my favorite show ever to come on Disney Plus yet. It was just absolutely amazing. And so I was up nice and early, and so I got some lineups in, and there were some good contests in there earlier in the day. Here, up top, I got Christian Javier as my top pitcher by a mile. If you want to tournament pivot onto John Gray, he'd be the only other one I'd really be interested in doing it with. But him and Gallen are picking up enough ownership that it's not like they're at 1 or 2%. And so for me, same as on DK, I would lock in Javier. That's my play here. I no matter how many lineups I was going, I'd be playing Javier. I'm going to live or die with that ship because it's tournaments. Yes, the Oakland may get to him, but we know he's got a crazy high strikeout rate, 33, 35%, whatever it is. So I'm not worried about that. Even if he gets let up for a few, he could still have a solid game. He's in a good ballpark. I'd be locking him in. Favorite stacks to me, it's the same as DraftKings. You just take out the early game. So it's the White Sox up top for me, the Dodgers next, Colorado third, Kansas City is 4th. Texas is 5th. Houston. Oh, sorry. Kansas City's not on the slate. So Texas is 4th. Houston is 5th.
Trying to see what the top value is. There like a FanDuel specific value that wasn't necessarily popping, as far as
same guys, so Garrett Hampson, AJ Pollock, Nelson Cruz, and Jesse Winker would probably be the closest things to FanDuel specific, just because they're so much cheaper here. But Hampson and Pollock are definitely your top 2 salary saving options. I personally always like taking shots on Victor Robles when he's leading off. Will Smith is a catcher on FanDuel that is far too cheap, and then you got Trace Thompson down here as well.
I love Robles. Did you follow that Robles Madison Bumgarner story?
No, but I too love Robles as a player.
Okay, well, so Madison Bumgarner, his reputation, kind of an ornery fella, old school guy, whatever, the unwritten rules, that kind of nonsense. He actually pitched a good game the other day. Congratulations to him. He pitched pretty well. Robles got excited. I think he either had a bat flip or he did like a little bit of, maybe took his time on the bases, whatever it was. Madison Bumgarner, I never sitting down. He took offense to it when he hit a homer, and he didn't like how Robles was excited about hitting a home run, and especially he's like, yeah, the game was 8-1, 8-2, and he called him a clown. He said, "Oh, Robles, what a clown!" The next day, Robles is in the dugout wearing a clown nose. Just amazing stuff. I love this guy.
We need more of that in baseball.
Yeah, let's have some fun, man. I love that. It's manufactured. By the way, speaking of that, I was talking to somebody else, and you probably saw this. Your boy Manoah during the All-Star game. I don't know if you caught this or not. If you watched the All-Star game or you saw the clips. Did you see Manoah mic'd up? Did you hear that? Did you catch that by chance?
No, I didn't. I've seen Manoah mic'd up in lots of Jays games, but I didn't at the All-Star game.
Oh, that was phenomenal stuff too. And you want to get people watching baseball again? I know the players, union will never agree to this or whatever, but just mic everybody up and have all the mics live and hear everything that's going on in the field. It's fabulous stuff. But
let people pay premium for the uncensored version.
I would totally pay. I have the MLB package. I would pay $1,000 a year. That's a write-off anyway, right? But I would pay $1,000 for it. It'd be thoroughly entertaining. I don't know.
Have you done any best balls this year?
No, I have not.
I've done a few. Just I enjoy them just purely for fun. I have a lot of fun doing them. And it's nice because you just get something extra to cheer for throughout the year without having to set lineups. I have.
Give me a take. Do you have a football take?
I've done about 8 teams this year, and I have Julio Jones in 7 of them. And I've never picked him earlier than the 15th round.
Yeah, I mean, Julio Jones, it feels like he aged really, really fast.
But I mean, it's still Julio Jones with Tom Brady in the Buccaneers offense. That's exciting stuff.
I guess. I don't know, man. If it was Julio Jones from 4 or 5 years ago, that dude that made an incredible catch in the Super Bowl.
But I mean, that guy is a first round draft pick.
Sure.
Julio Jones is ADP now. Once everybody catches wind of this and he's practicing and everything, he'll be a 10th round pick, an 8th round pick. And so I've been very excited to get him in the 15 to 18 round range. But he might have heard in terms of fantasy picks.
What's that?
In terms of fantasy picks, and best ball and just fantasy in general, the 3 teams I've really been targeting so far, just based on where everybody else is drafting them. This hasn't really been on purpose. It's just kind of how it laid out. Is the Saints and the Buccaneers. I'm getting a lot of. You can get Alvin Kamara right now still in the 3rd round, and it sounds like he may not even get suspended this year. And if he plays the whole season, he should be a top 3 pick. So that's you can still get Alvin Kamara in the late 2nd, early 3rd round. You can get Michael Thomas as the 80th to 90th pick right now.
It seems the people are not optimistic on what's going on there as far as his rehab. But I guess there's an upside in theory. But
it's another guy that you can get him in the 7th or 8th round, and he's a potential top 3 receiver. And I like that you can pair him with Jameis Winston, who is getting drafted very, very late. And then the same thing, the reason I like the Bucs is because Mike Evans is never going until the 2nd round. I like Mike Evans. Chris Godwin is already practicing, and nobody's picking him until the 5th or 6th round right now. So I've been getting a lot of Bucs as well. And then the team I find myself landing on a lot, simply just because I've done 8 underdog drafts so far, and I have never gotten better than pick 9. I get a lot of Las Vegas Raiders. I'm pretty consistently taking Devontae Adams at the end of the first round. I get Darren Waller in the third or fourth, and then I grab me some Derek Carr as like the QB 10, QB 12, and I really like that stack because it's a stack that you don't have to worry about your QB for a while, and you can just in the late round picks you can fill it with the random assortment of players on that team. And then I've been getting a lot of Patriots as well because you don't have to draft a single one of them until the 10th round.
Who's your team? Being out of Saskatoon, I guess your closest team of like geographically would be Seattle.
I'm a Saints fan.
Why the Saints? I feel like we talked about this before. What's the reason for the Saints?
Growing up, I played a lot of Madden, and so whenever I like created my own team, I liked the Saints colors when I was a kid, and so that I liked playing them on them. I liked also having a running quarterback. I'd always run around with Aaron Brooks. And then my other favorite team was the Chargers, Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson, one of my two favorite players. And so as soon as Drew Brees left the Chargers and went to the New Orleans Saints, it was game over because it was kind of like a 50-50 thing as a kid. And as soon as that happened, that sealed the deal for me to only be a Saints fan for the rest of my life.
Aaron's got a question in chats is regarding the slate. Moncada, third base, Hampson outfield, or Hampson third base, Cruz outfield for DK Cash. So it's
definitely Moncada Hampson. Definitely the Moncada
side. It's got to be Moncada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cruz is Nelson Cruz?
Yeah.
I assume? Yeah, that's got to be Moncada if you're talking about Cash. Who's the most interesting person in your favorite interview you ever had? If you're agents of fandom, I'm curious, or your biggest get. I don't know, the one that the people would be like, oh, wow, that's a good interview.
So the biggest get would probably be maybe Scott Adsit, who's the voice of Baymax from Big Hero 6, and he has a new series that came out. He's also Pete from 30 Rock.
Yeah.
And he's just been in like dozens and dozens of sitcoms and comedy movies with amazing casts. We recently interviewed Bill Ratner, who was he's Flint from G.I. Joe, and he's the movie trailer guy. So like you've definitely heard his voice before because he's the guy in movie trailers. He goes, coming soon to theaters. Like that's him. So like you've definitely heard his voice before, but my favorite, and we've done lots, we've done a few MCU actors and gaming actors and various things like that. But the favorite one I've done was our second with Anjali Bhimani, who she's in Ms. Marvel as well as a ton of gaming shows. She's been in like Criminal Minds, Law and Order, a bunch of shows like that as like a few episode appearances. And she's just like the nicest, kindest human being. And so we got our second interview with her dropping today. And we just like these things usually go for 20 minutes. And each time we've talked with her for like an hour 15, just because we hit it off so well and have great talks. So it's a lot of fun getting a chat with her. That's
cool. Yeah. And I guess one of these days you got to head out to Comic-Con and things of that sort, right? I don't know if did you have boots on the ground over there or no?
We didn't this year, but San Diego Comic-Con was actually huge for us because we did a live stream of all the news because the news wasn't like the panel itself for Marvel wasn't being live streamed. So we had like all the people who were there and tweeting their live feed popping up on our screen. And our live shows usually get like tops 300, 400 viewers. And we had 4,000 viewers over the course of our Comic-Con live stream. So that was a really big one for us. But I get press coverage and like I get media passes for all the Comic-Cons I've gone to so far, like the Calgary, Edmonton one, stuff like that. But eventually, as we grow, that's the goal. We really only launched in February, so we're still pretty new.
What was the biggest news to drop at Comic-Con? I know some trailers came out that people are excited about.
So the biggest thing was Marvel, like the MCU, they do their things in phases, right? Like they kind of have like their story arcs in phases. Their biggest one was that we kind of thought we were going to hear the rest of Phase 4, which is basically what has happened since the last Avengers movies. And they said, just kidding, that's done in November. Here's Phase 5 and 6. Here's all the movies for the next 2.5 years. And so typically, like as they've started, we'd get like 2 to 3 projects a year. And now we're getting about 6 to 8 a year. So it's just they unveiled the whole schedule for everything and gave some first look stuff like that.
What are you most excited about coming up?
She-Hulk. She-Hulk is the next TV series, and I'm really excited because Tatiana Maslany, who's the star of Orphan Black, she's She-Hulk, and she's from Saskatchewan, where I live, and Daredevil's going to be in the show, and a bunch of old characters from the original Hulk movie, and I'm just real excited because it's like a legal dramedy meets Marvel show.
She-Hulk is like a lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure if I was aware of She-Hulk.
She's a lawyer. So she's not always in the Green Hulk form, but she can change back and forth at will. Bruce Banner, the Hulk, is her cousin.
Sure.
And she like got some of his blood in her through a blood transfusion. And then
it happened to my cousin. Same
became
thing.
a little Hulk-like.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's classic cousin thing.
Dean, did your cousin start growing a gray mustache?
Quite possibly. Also caught diabetes, unfortunately.
You got a text message waiting for you, I think.
I guess, I don't know. I just started talking about the Agents of Phantom stuff, and I was just kind of interested about it. But we talked baseball. We talked the slate. We talked on, as far as Fanduel, what's going on. Essentially the same thing. We lose the first 2 games. We will be back later on at 3 o'clock on the East Coast. I presume, Devin, it's 3 o'clock. I know it's an early start time.
We'll be doing 5 Eastern start, and then we'll get in crunch time just a little early since we're about 20 minutes early on the slate lock tonight.
Right. Devin, are you excited about the MCU and all? Yeah, that
oh, yeah.
No,
I watch them. I keep up to date. I haven't watched any of Miss Marvel, but yeah, I love going back and watching all the movies.
Has TJ convinced you? He's just said it's like his new favorite show. Like, I mean, that's not a good enough sales pitch for you.
I've been behind TJ's takes. He and I we're playing the same notes these days, so it's right there with me.
Devin and Andre are my guys. They're the two that I know I can talk to about this stuff.
I know Andre's a big Batman guy. All right, do appreciate y'all watching. Thanks. Hit that like button on the way out. And TJ, you gonna be on later, or are you done for today?
Before we close out. Swolecast starts in about 5 minutes, so everybody go tune into that.
There you go.
Everyone go tune into Swolecast, and I'm not on any of the shows later today unless you want to kick somebody out. I'll hop right on. It's a nice chill day for me, so let's do it.
I don't make any executive decisions. That's not. You're on standby, I suppose. I don't make that call. But
you're gonna. I need you to fire a text to who do we got here on
who's getting the chopping block?
No, I think it might be Chop actually. I feel like it might be Chop, but. Yeah, do appreciate y'all watching. We'll be back in about 2.5 hours. Going to dig into the night slate. 5-gamer. Do that like button on the way out. What's up?
Kick him out. Chop and Tim, kick him out.
Chop. Come on. Let's get Chop out. Enough of that nonsense.
Chop would say, I am the one who chops.
Love Chopper. We're going to have a good time in 2.5 hours or so. With that said, appreciate y'all watching. It's weird. I haven't signed off in a long time because I just yield to Rolf on crunch time. So I forgot how to sign off. How do we leave? We just say holler and that's it. We're out. Appreciate y'all watching. That was TJ. That was producer Devin. Hit that like button. We're out of here. Holler.